If you don't know him, that is a big problem, because like, how else are you gonna get up there? You're not gonna make it unless you know him, and he's got to know you.
Amen.
Now, it ain't no one-way thing; it's a two-way.
Yes,
Yeah, he knows you, and you got to know him. And if that's like that together, then you have no worry. I want to talk about is with God, all things. You know what the rest of it is. Are possible. I mean, all things, no matter what it is, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what the situation is, with God, all things are possible. And some of the things that I want to talk about that God made possible, I mean, all the things that's here is because of God. At first, he made the world. Mm-hmm. Then it was dark, so he said, well, he needed some light. So he divided darkness and the night. And that was something that I think about. I said, wow, I said, it had to be God, because a man, there's no way a human could do that. There's no way. I don't care. Well, it had to be him to do that. Now, another thing is that when he made the earth, he made the oceans, and so he had to divide that ocean and the ground. So that's another thing he did. And another thing I read, that when Jonah was in the belly of the great fish. Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen some big fish. I've seen some huge ones. But I would, it don't say it said fish in the Bible, but I would say a whale, because it would for a fish to be able to swallow a human and keep it in his body for 2 or 3 days, or how long he was in there, then I don't know one that would be able to do that. Not even a shark. They are big, but I don't think they will do that. But a whale, I know that I've seen them in person, whales, and they are huge. And so I think that would be rather than they put whales in there, they just said fish, and I'll go with that. But it had to, and God got him out of there. So he made that possible for Jonah to come out of that whale's belly and still survive. Another thing, when he got the Hebrew boys out of the fiery furnace. Mm-hmm. Now, and wasn't a hair burned on them, skin wasn't touched, and nothing like that. So only God can do that. As no human would not be able to do that. And another thing we're going to get to, when he dealing with Pharaoh. We know who Pharaoh was. Mm-hmm. We knew how he treated the children and everything. So God didn't like what was happening to the children. So he caused many things to happen. Yes. in Egypt to Pharaoh and his land and everything. Some of the things that happened Now, God sent Moses to talk to Pharaoh about letting the children go. So, Pharaoh was something like some of us. Show me. But I mean, he was, and he was saying, and then I thought about a guy in Russia. I don't like to call his name. You're gonna just have to show him, and that's what it's gonna probably amount to. But Pharaoh was the same way. He was stubborn and hard-headed, and he wanted to have his way. So there were many things that happened in Egypt before he decided to, I better go ahead on and do what God says, let the people go. So some of the things he caused in Egypt was he called plagues to happen. He caused frogs to be everywhere, all over the place. He caused locusts to eat up all the crops and stuff like that. And he also caused lice to cover the earth. And also he caused all the cattle that belonged to Egypt. Now this was one. There was some that Egypt and Israel. So he caused all the cattle that belonged to Israel, which was Pharaoh. I mean, Egypt, which belonged to Pharaoh, to die. But the cattle that belonged to Israel, nothing happened to them. So you can see right there that, God can do anything. And he can do all things. Now, when Pharaoh allowed the children to leave, they were headed out in a direction. Now, it was, I guess, a couple of ways that they could go, leaving Egypt. So he told Moses not to take the shortest route, because the shortest route would take them through the Palestines. And they was at war, and he said that if the children would get tied up, see they had a war going on their way out, then they would change their mind, turn around and go back to Pharaoh. So God didn't want that to happen. So he sent them around a different direction so they can get to where he wanted them to go. And when they arrived at the Red Sea, there was something else that happened. Now, all the people, animals, and wagons or whatever they had carrying their goods, they couldn't swim across that river. They didn't have a boat to load it on to take them across the river. So God realized that. So he said, well, I know what I'll do. I'll make it where they can cross. So, and he all he did was tell Moses to hold that rod up there, and Moses did. And the water divided. Yes. So, and said the people went across on dry land. Yes. So, that'll tell you right there, there is nothing impossible for God to do. And I'm telling you, he's done some impossible things that I know personally for me, and I just thank him for all of that, because I know that many times, and for me, I'm talking about me now, that especially in the war, when you can hear those bullets going right by your ear and stuff like that, it just, you know, it had to be God, because like what they were using, it wasn't like back in the day they had spears and stuff like that. It wasn't no way you can dodge them. When they shoot at you, shooting the bullets, but you know they just went by me, and I tell you, it had to be God directing those bullets, because I mean once I got hit, but it wasn't where it took me. I had to go to the hospital for a month and a half, and I tell you what, when they finished with me there. And I thought I was getting ready to come home. I had been over there, got over there in December. This was like March. And so that happened. And so, you know, I was ready to leave. I really was. And so when the doctor came in and said, well, are you ready to go? I said, am I going home? I never forget this. He said, no, you're going back to your company. I said, wow. Yeah. I said, well, and he said the reason, my wounds were flesh wounds. He said, now, if it had been some bones or something like that, then yeah, you'd have been going home, but they were flesh. And that's another thing. God allowed me to get hit, wounded, but it didn't hit anything that would really put me down for a while, or either put me out. And so I went on back out there, but you know, from that time on, when I went back, everything, you know, I didn't have any more problems. And one other thing, God, I mean, not one, but he's done many, many things for me, because I've been around for a while. And so this year, 1973, I'll never forget that year, I had just bought a brand new Pontiac Grand Prix. And so one of my friends, they had a birthday party for him, worked at the post office with me. We was at the post office at that time. And he lived in here, but he was from Denton. So they was having a birthday party up there for him. I was working from 3 to 11:30 at night. I got off from work, went home, took a shower, and got in bed. That way now, I won't do that no more. I won't get up and go nowhere else I not to something like that. So I got a call. It was about 12:30 or so. And so they asked me, was I coming to the birthday party? I said, well, I hadn't planned on it, but, you know, so I got up and went on up there, drove up in the driveway behind another car that was parked there, and all of a sudden another car came up behind me real fast. I thought it was going to run into me, and I'm just sitting there. It was like 1:30 or something, 2 or something like that in the morning. So I saw somebody, I was looking through my mirror, and get out the car, and I saw him pull something out like that and do that. And I'm looking, I thought they was joking. You know, sometimes the guys will pull a little prank or something like that. So he came up there and said, told me to get out the car, used some bad words. And then I said, well, I still was thinking that he was joking. And so he said it again, and then he grabbed the door and snatched it open. And he said it again, told me to get out the car. And so I was about to turn to get out, and then all of a sudden, he fired with me sitting in the seat. And so I didn't know, I know I got hit. And that's another thing, God, I'm telling you. That bullet went through my neck. And I got the wounds right one here and came out over here. And I thought it grazed the back of my neck because it was just burning. And so I said, well, after a while, I fell on the ground. I remember that. And then I remember him putting it right there. But I don't know if he saw the blood gushing out both sides of my neck and decided not to do it, but I think God stopped him. Yeah. So, but the thing, and I tell you, that was a long night for me because they had a hospital up there, and then they took me there and got me out and took me in the emergency room, and so I was in there for a minute or two, and then this nurse come in there said we don't, the ambulance was gone. They took me there, said we don't have doctors here to treat gunshot wounds. And I said, she said, we've got to send you to Dallas. So they called the ambulance back, and they put me back in there and took me to Dallas, Parkland. And I didn't know where they was taking me. If I had known, they would never took me to Parkland. I told them, take me somewhere else. But this is something. But when I got there, this doctor, I was laying up in the emergency room, my eyes closed, and I heard somebody talking. I looked up, and there was a whole bunch of doctors standing around, and this old doctor was standing over me, and I heard him say, the bullet went in this side and came out this side. That's the only time I knew that bullet didn't graze my neck. It went through. And so he said, we got to send you down. No, before that, I had bought a $300-something leather jacket. It was cold, and I had it on. And you know, they don't pull it off of you. They cut it, and I was mad. I mean, they did, really. They took and went up them sleeves and cut it off because he said they couldn't move me. So anyway, they took me down for an x-ray. And I came back up there, and the doctor said, somebody's looking out for you. And I said, yeah, I know. And so I said, he's been doing that for a long time. And so he said, the bullet went through your neck. The only way it could have gone without either paralyzing you for life or killing you. So he said it missed everything that was vital by just a hair. And I said, God had to guide that bullet through there. But that guy, I don't know, he thought I was somebody else, because another one of my buddies, and I got mad with him later on when I found out that he had a Pontiac too, just like mine. And he was up there, and he was seeing this guy's wife. And the guy thought it was me. He just knew, and when we went to court, he said he just knew the guy had a Pontiac Grand Prix. And so he had to go down for quite a while for that. To say this, what I was saying, with God, all things are possible. He made it possible for me. He made it possible for all of us, because we're still here. Amen. Yeah, we are here. And so he's worthy, worthy to be praised. And I just give him all the praise. Yes, Lord. And I just thank him for life. I thank him for finna be 80 years. Yeah. And it's whatever he say. I'm whatever he tell me, I'm ready. Amen. I'll tell you, I am ready, because he has been so good for all of this time. But I just want to kind of hit on some of the things that why I say with God, all things are possible. And I pray that some of the teaching, life lesson that will help someone and give them strength. And we just got to make sure that we keep our mind on God at all times. And he will see us through whatever the situation is. It doesn't matter. It could be, you could be like you're not going to make it through yourself. But, God know before you know what's going to happen. He already know. And he have plans to make it happen the way he wants it to happen, and not the way somebody else, not the way we want to make it happen. So I just thank him, and I thank him for this time that he has given me to share with you all some of the things that God have made possible for us. And it all started back a long time ago when he formed the world. Yes. And things start happening then. So this is going to end my life lesson for today. Amen. And I want to pray that everyone that had here that gained something like I know I did. And it was interesting into, when you start digging deep in the treasures and mysteries of God, you'll find some treasures and you'll find some mysteries, and he's got some. And still, right now, some new ones. They're not, every day.